Come now, all you mangy dogs. Swab the decks and hoist the sails. The guns on board be needing some proper manning. Pieces of 8 and a fine wench on your arm. If your work be not too shoddy. Careful not to flounder too badly, though, or you may have to dance the hempen jig as we see you to Davy Jones. Exactly, my boy. On with the show.
Welcome, everybody, friends, folks, foes, and fellow pirate mateys, to our latest weekly edition of Pirate Radio Podcasts. It's feature show number 349 with none other than Tony Death Trap Sayers. Before we get to him and his bio information, let us remind you that I myself, as always, am your host and trusted companion, Robinhood's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder. WPRPN.com is the website you'll want to drop by and take a look at. Sign up is free. All you simply need is a username, password, and email. Be sure as well to check out the show description. End of things, lots of great handy dandy links you'll find available in that part of what we have to offer. We have a Patreon presence. We've got pirate swag available via galacticfire.com and elsewhere, Teespring and TeePublic. Of course, half of everything that we do manage to generate goes directly back to charity. I mean, come on, folks. Who else even bothers to do such a thing? Not too many live streamers or social media personalities that I'm aware of. Pirate One Radio at protonmail.com, the aforementioned email address, is also, it's our PayPal, so do take note of that. And if you have any show suggestions or guest ideas you'd like to bounce off of us, that's how you get in touch and let us know what's on your mind. So if all else fails, be sure simply just to take a few moments to like, comment, share, hit subscription, notification buttons, and password on to friends, family, and coworkers. All right, so on with the show. This week's featured guest is none other than truth seeker, author, speaker, energy worker, and founder of transcendingtimes.org, Tony Sayers. His work focuses on exposing the manipulations of the archonic realm, helping people break free from entity attachments, false belief systems, and soul traps. Through his books, talks, and personal sessions, Tony works to empower people in reclaiming their sovereignty and escape the matrix control system. Thanks for joining us this week, Tony, via Mexico, of all places, not the UK, as some might think, based upon your somewhat Cockney accent. So how are things, how's life treating you down in Mexico these days?
It's good. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here and speaking to your listeners. And I have to say, talking of accents, you definitely have a voice for radio. Definitely a very soothing, chilled out tone. So yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a good interview. But yeah, Mexico's good. It's better than the UK in many ways.
Right.
It still has its problems, but yeah, I mean, the main thing is we have the sun down here, which we don't really have a lot of in the UK, especially with the spraying that's going on there. So for that reason alone, it's a good place to be. And of course, the food here is way better than British food, which is absolutely terrible. Um, so yeah, I mean, as far as being on this realm goes, it's one of the more freer places. People tend to leave you alone. You're not getting CCTV looking at you all the time and constant bills and fines. So for that reason as well, it's quite nice. So yeah, I can't complain.
It sounds great. It would, I guess, yeah, pros and cons. I'm in a similar type situation here with South Korea, former Canadian, well, expat. So where things stand currently in our life is, do we stay here or head back to Canada? And just kind of looking at the pros and cons in both, you know, sides of the balance sheet, as it were. So we actually might turn to the I Ching, believe it or not. That's one of the things I sometimes do. Rarely. I don't know if you've heard of the I Ching or not. You probably heard of it. It sort of works in the way that the Matrix does, binary code. Is which
Okay.
you,
No, I haven't heard of it.
oh, okay. Well, Matrix, the Matrix. You've written numerous books. One on porn addiction, we see. Another on, breaking free of the Matrix, of course, soul traps and whatnot. You are billed and booked this week, of course, as Tony Death Trap Sayers. I like that moniker a lot. So, let's hope you live up to it. I'm sure you will. But the Matrix, yeah, it's a binary code. Essentially, is it not? Dare I say source code? We heard one of your earlier talks, and you were all over this business of source. You were kind of scratching your head a little bit, wondering how it originated itself.
Yeah,
So
the whole source. There's a lot of like AI language tied into some of the concepts that we think are good or beneficial. Like, yeah, I mentioned there the source. Or when you look at the word source, it's source code, and people often talk about like merging with source, and that's like a big red flag to me because I don't want to be merging with anything like with AI related. Um, and there's a lot of there's a lot of language that, I mean, we know language is spells, and I just think we just need to be careful about what it is we're connecting with. And there's so much out there, particularly in the new age, which is just flies under the radar. It's just so deceptive. And like I said to you off camera, I think we have to question everything, even, as I said, like ancient texts, new age concepts, because what they've done is they've layered this matrix so well, particularly with like new age, because what happens is people, they tend to quote unquote wake up. I don't like that term because awake is something that happens when you die. So again, in the language, but then people just automatically fall into this kind of like spiritual scene, new age scene. And a lot of my work and on my YouTube channel is really questioning that and exposing that, because I see the new age movement as the last honeypot before the gold mine. I think they created that as the new religion because people were losing literal faith with religion. They needed something new. And when you look into the history of the New Age, Helena Blavatsky was a dark Luciferian. Um, and when you drill down on the concepts there, all the concepts that are taught within the New Age benefit sociopaths, psychopaths, a controlling system that wants to dominate, control, and just run riot with evil. So, for example, like never get angry about anything, like what anger can lead to great change, like righteous anger, but we're told to suppress that. And now I'm not saying that, we've got to be in anger all the time. That's not healthy, but that emotion exists for a reason. Another one would be one that I really hate is don't judge. We're constantly told not to judge. Well, if you don't make judgments, how can you start the discernment process? And they don't want you starting the discernment process, because if you start the discernment process, you might just figure out that things ain't right here and we're being ruled by evil. So best off just not to look at it and just call it a judgment. Just be positive. This like kind of toxic positivity, like, which is basically spiritual bypassing. Now, again, I'm not saying don't have a positive mindset, but when you're, bypassing certain things that need attention to quote unquote stay positive or quote unquote keep your vibrations high, then again, that's just spiritual bypassing, and that benefits psychopaths, sociopaths, reptilians, and the entities that are working behind the scenes. And when you go further with the New Age, in terms of what happens when people die, it's even more important to really get people out of that mindset, because what they're doing, these entities, when people are going to the light tunnel, and this is just very triggering for people if you've not heard it before, but these entities are masquerading as whatever it is that you are into in your physical life. So if you was a prominent New Ager and you was into angels and guides, these entities are able to shapeshift into whatever's palatable for you. This AI system will tot it all up. Okay, so Jaffe, I'm not saying you are Jaffe, but Jaffe was really into like Archangel Michael when he was alive. So we'll just push out Archangel Michael, and then what happens is you get love bombed with the false light frequency at the light tunnel. Archangel Michael's there, you've just died, you've had a traumatic death, because all death is traumatic really when you think about it. And, he's there with open arms, and you're like, oh, great. Archangel Michael, brilliant. And then before you know it, you're having your life review, which is when you research these NDEs, they talk of it being like in an auditorium with a screen, where these entities will tell you that they're not judging you, but they'll make damn sure that they show you your worst bits. When you hurt Joe Bloggs and you had an argument with him in 2009, they actually make you feel how Joe Bloggs would have felt when you hurt them. So they're not judging you, but they make sure that you feel bad about yourself, and then you judge yourself, and then they hit you with, if you're a New Ager, they're going to hit you with the karma card. So, because of what you did to Joe Bloggs, you lived a good life, Jaffe, but you hurt Joe Bloggs in 2009. So unfortunately, you got some bad karma there you need to resolve. If you're religious, they'll use the heaven and hell card. There is an option, like, unless you want to go there, is you need to come back down and have another lifetime on earth. And of course the soul or the spirit, because they've not bothered to do any research in their physical life, because ignorance doesn't die when we die, they go along with it very reluctantly. And then the worst thing happens, where you get your memory wiped. You go through the veil of forgetfulness. So everything that you've learned in this lifetime, imagine everything that you've learned right now, it gets wiped. That's why they call it research and retire. We've done this over and over again. So we're looping around over and over again, learning stuff, then forgetting it, because they're memory wiping us. And then this is why, in the New Age movement, they tell you that Earth is a school, right? And we're here to learn lessons. Well, how can it be a school, and how can we be learning lessons if they wipe our memory? Because in a normal school environment, you will take an exam, or sorry, you'll do your your research for the exam, you'll take the exam, and if you fail that exam, you'll take another test, but you won't have your memory wiped to forget everything you've learned. You'll just take it again, and chances are you'll probably pass. But in this scenario, we're having our memories wiped. So how on earth can it be a school if we're having our memories wiped? By proxy, it cannot be a school. And the other thing with a school is that if you don't like school, you can just bunk off or you can quit. But here you can't, unless you top yourself. You've got to stay here. You've got to stay in this environment. So this is why I'm so passionate about breaking down the New Age, because I really think that that's their last card that they're playing with people, to hook people back round, to shoehorn them into having another lifetime. And of course, you know, someone like myself comes along and says all of this, people are going to get upset, they're going to get triggered. The reason they're going to get triggered and upset is because, just like any other belief system, like religion or New Age, or what it is, it's like a safety blanket for people. It's a pillar that people lean into to make themselves feel good. And the New Age is full of stuff that's going to make you feel good. You've got unicorns, you've got angels, you've got guides, you've got love and light, you've got, like, you just got everything to make yourself feel good. So when someone like me comes along and says, well, actually, it's all a crock of shit and it's deception, you're going to get a lot of pushback, and rightly so. And I understand it completely, because I understand that people, just being born on this planet, even if you have a relatively good upbringing and you don't have all the trauma which a lot of other people unfortunately go through, you still have to deal with things like unconscious parenting, bullying at school. It's just set up for trauma and suffering. Let's just be honest. It's set up for, don't get me wrong, you can have moments of happiness, fleeting moments, good experiences, but the general overarching theme of this realm is suffering and fear and all the stuff that goes with it. And so what happens is people are just even if you don't have trauma, this place is incredibly difficult to deal with, just being here. So, and especially if you have got a lot of trauma, of course, you're going to be looking for something. You're going to be looking for something to make you feel good. You're going to be looking for something or someone to save you, to take the edge off of it. And the New Age, what they've done so cleverly is they've tailored it for people, because they know people are traumatized. They know people are suffering. They know people are looking for something. They know people are looking for a savior. And that can come in the form of religious people that are putting their faith in God and Jesus and all that stuff, or New Agers that put their faith in the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the archangels, the guides, and all of this. So they don't really care which one you go for, as long as you go for one of them. And so I don't blame people, or you know, I completely understand why people gravitate to these belief systems, because of the trauma and suffering and the way I see it, this is the hell realm. I can't. Yeah, I just have to call it as it is. You just look at what's going on, constant wars, children being blown to smithereens. You've got, like, even animals are born with weapons. Everything needs to consume something else to survive. It's just parasitic. This place is parasitic. And then you have the entities that are feeding on our energy. So to me, we're cows on a farm. And again, that's triggering for people to hear, because we tend to want to bend this place into a pretzel and paint it up to be something that it's not. But I just think that we have to look at things for exactly how they are, because if we don't look at things for exactly how they are, then we're going to be open to more deception and more manipulation. And when you consider the memory wipe that's going on, I don't want to find myself in a situation, and I don't want to find other people in a situation where we have this window of opportunity now, where we have the internet, which was created to, enslave us, internet, the web, etc., etc. But what we've done, humans also having their creative abilities, we've used this tool to our advantage. So, for example, we're having this interview now, so we're able to reach way more people than what we would have done 100 years ago when we were writing books or whatever. So we have a real opportunity now to get this information out to people and get people to look at what's going on at the point of death, and really work out a plan on how, not only how we're going to get out of here, but for me personally, I'm at the point where I want to be part of bringing this thing down, because it is so damn evil. Every single day, you're reminded every single day. This morning I went out, there's people rummaging through bins with kids, a family. And just like, that shouldn't be happening. Things like that shouldn't be happening. And it's so damn evil. It's got to, I feel like, even if I got out, if this place still exists, I don't think my soul or spirit could be truly happy knowing that this evil exists.
Hey, Tony.
So the new age.
I was just going to jump in here, and you can finish your point there if you like. But I was going to introduce Sonia as well too. You've done a great job, just kind of opening things up to further.
Sorry, yeah, I'm rambling there.
No, that's just,
it's
well,
weird
let you
because
go.
I don't really talk much, but when I get into this topic, you can't stop me.
We can sense your passion. Let's not forget though, we do have a co-host Sonia Galactic on board this go around, so welcome her to the show and the conversation as well. Sonia, I mean, he really did circumambulate a whole great deal there. Is there anything that really jumped out at you?
Well, yeah, I was thinking, wasn't the New Age started by the Rockefellers or whatever, the cabal, really? I mean, that whole concept is not something that we came up with. It's something they came up with.
Blavatsky was a central character as he
right. Okay.
There was a magazine.
Luciferian.
Right. Well, she was quite the character, wasn't she? I mean, we could go in so many different areas here, but comparing her to Crowley, I mean, that would be interesting, a book on Blavatsky as compared to Crowley. But have you looked into Crowley? Probably, I would imagine.
I have looked into Crowley, and he was into doing yoga and all that stuff. Well, I mean, look at how yoga is so integral into the New Age, and people don't even realize what they're doing with that.
Well, do you know what the term yoga means?
Yeah, it means to yoke, to merge.
To make a union with God. That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but which God?
Right.
This is what I'm talking about.
Well, within ourselves, I would argue it has to do. People can do whatever they want, obviously, right? But for me, I believe that it's important to make friends with ourselves. Because as you say, like, there's so much confusion, so much misery, so much unhappiness. Everybody wants to be happy. So, and that's, I'm not sure, I've heard you kind of a little bit cynical when it comes to meditation, which in many ways is just controlled, sort of focused breathing. There's many techniques, but the meditation I practice is just that, which if you controlled, focused breathing, awareness of breath as best one can be, and fully in the moment, as well. But this the two terms, meditation as compared to medication. There's only just that one consonant difference, and I think I don't think that's a coincidence. and it's free and natural too. So I wouldn't short sell or underestimate the power of meditation. It's a question though, as with yoga, and you are right. I do agree. People get caught up in this whole spiritual materialist, as it's known, business where they adorn themselves with all the fancy, colorful, the clothes and shake the rattles and all the, the trappings, as it were, to that the whole, the spiritual, if you want to call it New Age shtick. But at the same time, I think it's really, I think it's really quite something and critical to acknowledge that at least people now have a choice in many cases, not everywhere. If you're living in some radical Islamic nation state, obviously, like Saudi Arabia or otherwise, where you don't have any choices. Afghanistan, if you stray, if you're a heretic, you're dead basically. But at least in the West, people have the freedom to choose, and that includes to be an atheist as well if they're so inclined. So, but yeah, but bottom line, happiness and essentially making friends with ourselves, being at peace. And I do sense George Carlin talked about how if you scratch the surface of a cynic, you'll underneath that quite often you'll find an idealist, really just kind of someone who I guess just wishes the world was a better place, obviously, which it can be if that's the approach we take. But I mean, Sonia, what do you think? I'm sure. I mean, we'll have him flesh out the New Age a little more if he can. It's a great question. Michael Tessarian, I think, has done a lot of investigation. Many others, the Christian fundamentalists as well. They're really not
well. I think this is the fine line that Tony brings us to and what he talks about, because it's like you get right up there and you're like, wait, what?
Well,
so it's kind of one of those things that you really just got to kind of ponder for yourself.
You practice
without,
tarot. Is that part of the New Age?
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, tarot goes way back, doesn't it?
I'm not sure.
It's like,
well, they can bring anything into the New Age that they want to, I'm sure.
Right.
And possibly, I mean, as far as I know, the roots, of the tarot go back like to playing cards.
Yeah.
Apparently,
the Royal
or maybe that's
Road.
where playing cards came from. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. So it was probably all part of the whole building of the whole thing, because this sort of building has been going on for quite some time, not just one generation.
Okay.
So there's a mastermind on it somewhere, computer possibly.
Hey, well, and having said that, I'll bounce this off of Tony, because this is something that really did catch our attention. The archons, the archonic is how we had it spelled. We revised that, so it's archonic, and I was a little perplexed over the term. I guess you can use both interchangeably, but we just thought we'd run with archonic. So the archons, there was actually an old Star Trek episode dealing with the archons. So, but they are archon to see where a Gnostic sect existing in Palestine, Syria, and Armenia, who arose toward the mid 4th century CE. They were thus called from the Greek word blah blah, principalities or rulers, by reason they held the world to have been created by and ruled by malevolent archons. The Gnostic demiurge. You're familiar with the Gnostic demiurge, presumably, Tony? Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Similar to what?
I mean, the way I see this is that in terms of like who's behind all of this, in terms of like, because this is all coming from the astral. Like a lot of people in the alternative media, truth community, very focused on the 3D aspect of the conspiracy. And of course, it's important to understand all of that. I mean, I wouldn't have started my journey if I didn't uncover like the 9/11 and all of that stuff. So it's part of it. But really we need to look at where this is all coming from, and it's coming from the astral, which I describe as Earth is the prison and the astral is the prison yard. And within the prison yard or the astral realm are not just one form of negative entity races. There is a whole plethora of different entity races, which are, some have their own agendas, but essentially they're all siphoning off our energy and mainly our fear and suffering. And that's why we're kept in constant wars and famines and all that stuff. It's like they're caviar, but actually all our energy. And so, for example, you have like the serpent entities, dragon entities, you have greys, you have reptilians, you have draconians, you have,
mantis,
you know, the false light. Yeah, the mantis beings. You have the false light beings that are masquerading as Arcturians, Pleiadians, archangels. So all these different entity races are part of the enslavement of humanity. But then on top of that, you also have AI. So where AI exists here in 3D, it's also there in 4D. And I believe that this this matrix or this system is that the head is like some kind of AI, and whether that's like a supercomputer or a quantum computer in the astral, that's what resonates with me. And when you look at, like I said, the language before, in terms of people talking about source code, it seems to be that AI is a very big part of this. And you know, just in terms of like the etheric implants that people have, you know, we all have etheric implants where you have a physical brain, you have an energetic brain, a physical heart, energetic heart in the astral. And what they're doing is they're etherically implanting people on the astral body, which then affects you on the physical body. And a lot of the implants are what we're seeing now coming out with Elon Musk in terms of the Neurolace, the Neuralink. That's already there in the astral going on. So what we're seeing playing out is this transhumanism agenda coming out in 3D, but it's already there in 4D. So yeah, and I believe that we are the batteries, just like in the film The Matrix. We are the batteries that are powering this whole system.
Yeah,
I really do think that
yeah.
we are the ones that lighting this up.
They're working on doing that even more now. They're becoming more open and transparent, saying that's central to the future agenda, which they've probably already been doing behind the scenes for some time now. But like Bill Gates and others, harvesting our life energy for their own purposes, I guess, whatever that is. So, like, literally, like, you know, you've probably read the stories or seen what have you come across on in that regard? Like, you've seen them openly discuss these things, have you not?
In terms of what exactly? Sorry.
Well, like basically using us as like harvesting our life energy for their own purposes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've spent the last 10 years clearing, you know, etheric implants and entities from people, and overlays, synthetic digital overlays. The chakras is another overlay, which again, very triggering for people to hear. We can go into that a little bit more if you want. And so, yeah, all this stuff, you know, when you clear it, you feel more energized. You feel your life force come back. And so it's clear just from that alone that when you remove a lot of this stuff, you're left with more of your own energy, and it all makes sense from there. But I think on a wider perspective, I think there's two kinds of beings on the planet. I think there is just like a simulation. So there's like the main characters, if you like the soul beings, and then you have the filling characters like the NPCs. And I don't think that they're wired. I don't think they're wired the same as soul beings. They don't have the. This is why you can, especially over the last 4 years, it's so obvious that it's all a scam to get people, with the poke in the arm, and people still refuse or can't see it. And I think part of that is because they're programmed a certain way. And actually, an interesting NDE that I reviewed once, where a man saw basically a tunnel of souls coming back into Earth, and they had, or he described them as having mechanical souls. And I thought, well, that must be the NPCs that are coming in. So, and of course, they hold everything in place. But the soul beings, the soul beings are the ones that are the powerful batteries, the energy generators. And so I think that's what's going on with this. It's basically we're in like a computer game. And so, yeah, just like the computer game, and certain films talk about this. I mean, you look at the Truman Show, where he was, when he would come out of his house, everyone else would suddenly come out of their house at the same time. And it's funny because once you see it, you can't unsee it. I mean, every time I go and do something of any importance, there'll be like construction will start, the neighbours will start their music, there'll be a leaf blower that will just turn on outside my house. So it's an interesting phenomenon. Again, it's one that can be quite triggering for people to get their head around.
Are you familiar with the term?
Way I see it. I just
synchronicity. Are you familiar with that term, synchronicity?
Yes.
Well, is that what you're talking about? Do you buy into that, or do you think it's total nonsense?
Synchronicity, I think. I mean, I don't know really, because
Carl Jung found, he coined the term. As you may be aware. So
yeah, I know what synchronicity is, but I think when I look back on my life and I look back at so-called, I mean, certainly with the work that I got into in terms of, I think a lot of it has to do with, because I think there's two things going on here. So the Matrix has its own. If you follow the Matrix program, certain things, certain events in your life and you are going to kind of happen, and you can know this by studying pre-birth memories. When you go into studying NDEs, there's pre-birth memories where people plan their lives before they come here. They choose their families and what job they're going to do and what country they're going to be in. These are all, you can easily research these things. So you have like the matrix structure of your life, but we also have, as soul beings, our creative essence, our spark of essence. And the way I look at my life is, before I became aware, I was following the Matrix program. I was into just football. I didn't care about what was going on in the world. I was completely in the corporate world, working stupidly long hours. I was what I would describe as an NPC at the time. I had little to no awareness of anything, really. It was only my trigger moment was actually boredom. I was so bored with the corporate world. I started to ask questions. I'm like, is this my life for the next 50 years? But anyway, that's going off on a tangent. So what happened at that point was, when I started to go through that process of uncovering information, and based on new information, we make new choices. So when I look back at my life, when the penny dropped and I realized I was a debt slave, I was like, well, I'm not paying my credit cards anymore, and I need to get out of this corporate world. So I retrained, and I knew I wanted to help people. So I did a load of courses, half of which I probably wouldn't do now if I had the choice. But my intention was I wanted to help people. My intention was I wanted to, because once you know this stuff, you have two choices, right? It's like you either keep it to yourself, so you know they're trying to murder us, but you're too scared to speak up, or you speak up and you know you're going to lose your friends and you know everyone thinks you're going to go mad. And so I chose the latter, obviously. But from there, I would say my intention has then, I've then carved my own path, right? I've come away from the Matrix program, which if I'd have stuck on that, I got an insight when I was in the corporate world. Just, you get those voices. It was like, if you keep doing this, you're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 50.
Wow.
And I believed that. And I believed that would have happened because I was so stressed out. But now, but since then, obviously, I've gone a different path. I've gone off script. Let's say I've gone off script. I'm using that creative essence that we have as soul beings. And now, I've lived in Cambodia, I've lived in Thailand, now I live in Mexico. I'm doing work which is, really rewarding, like clearing all this stuff, doing interviews like this. And so my life took a complete 180. And there's no way that I would have planned this life in my pre-birth memories with the Matrix entities. They wouldn't wanted me doing this. So I think we do have like a Matrix path, but then we can use our intention and our creative spark to carve a different life for ourselves. So, and there was have you ever seen the film The 13th Floor? I think it's called The 13th Floor.
No, but I will just chime in and add that this divine spark to which you allude is something that I believe the ancient Stoics were very much aware of, whether that's like life essence or what exactly. I can't quite say, but also Greco-Buddhism, 900 years of Greco-Buddhism, and this archon business of which we alluded to earlier, that came up right at the tail end of the Greco-Buddhist 900-year period. This is during what was known as the Axial Age, like Alexander the Great up until about 500 AD. It's like the Axial Age, Ashoka the Great out of India, the emperor, and so forth. So, but anyways, divine spark and the Stoics. Go ahead. 13th floor. 13 monkeys. Brad Pitt.
I think it's called The 13th Floor.
Okay.
But it's like a 1980s film,
right?
I think. And they basically, there's a lot of truth in these films. They basically say that this is the only simulation where you are able to create within the simulation, within the game. And I thought that was really, when I heard that line, that really just underpins what I've just been explaining. It's almost like we're in a simulation, but we're able to use that spark of essence and our intention to have different experiences, and we can go quote unquote off script.
Free will,
it's
I guess.
Film,
right? Free will. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff.
Well, I mean, do we really have? Do we have complete free will here?
It depends on the situation, I think.
I've without your slave book, but yeah.
Well, I've been thinking about that lately, like free will or not. I don't understand how we don't have free will, because we make decisions every day. And that's discrimination too. Let's not forget. Do you want chicken or pizza, for dinner? You discriminate, or maybe you don't want either of them.
Right. Well, the choices are handed to you first.
Well, or you can come up with something different. You can just abstain if you want. You can just stay at home and
right.
go on
but if your program
diet.
is super hard,
Well,
If you're
But what
programmed
about
super hard, that won't happen.
well, then exercise your
Know?
but
free
what
will.
about this? What about this? You
Yeah.
say we got free will. You're stuck in a body, right? Your consciousness is stuck in a body. So I mean, unless you become very good at kind of like astral travel, you know, there's a tether. There's like a tether to the body. The soul is tethered to the body.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. Like if we had true free will, we could just pop out of our body, go wherever we wanted, anywhere in creation we wanted. But we can't. We're tethered to this human body. And I mean, don't even get me started on the human body. People say the body's incredible. I mean, it's got the nervous system. I've never seen anything so evil. I mean, does anyone ever question pain? I mean, like I plucked my nose hair the other day.
Yeah,
I had a lot, you know, when you get the nose, it killed. I was like, oh, why
yeah.
does that have to hurt so much? Who created that?
Brings tears to your eyes,
It's
doesn't it?
like exactly. It's like people talk about the human body. I mean,
Well,
it decays. Like it's not built. It's like if I go out in the sun, I'm burnt within
yeah.
5 minutes. Like
Well,
there's so much wrong with it. The design of it. I mean, I don't know whether the original blueprint was, and it's been like messed with or tampered with
Oh,
or spliced or what
yeah.
have
well,
you. But it's evil. The human body is evil, and again, that triggers people because you know we're told, well, the human body is amazing, and in some ways it is. You know, if you cut your finger and it like, but it's so delicate. I mean,
well, whose fault
it
is it that
can.
we're here in the first place, though? Really, we ask. Think about it. I mean, we've got to. That's where we've got to take personal responsibility.
That's
Do we not? We can't just go around blaming other people
the
for the
death trap.
fact that we've been born into this world. And I do agree, of course, it's the idea to liberate ourselves from the wheel of rebirth. And I think, Tony, you've got your views, your insight on how to best go about doing that, which hopefully we can hear about in just a few moments here. But one thing has got me thinking in the lead up to the show is this Mahayana Buddhism, not the original Buddhism, Theravada, but Mahayana, where you take the Bodhisattva vow, where you vow to keep returning. This is kind of sneaky. I was once again thinking about this in the lead up to the show. You vow to keep returning, not because life is great. You realize it sucks and it's difficult and burdensome, but because all these other people and sentient beings, animals and the like out here, they need your help. That without your help, they'd be even more lost than they already are. So that's the Bodhisattva vow, which is, I'll be thinking about that a little more, I'm sure, as time goes on here. But what is I mean surely you must agree that
Super
it's
interesting.
the Bodhisattva vow. Yeah, look into it. And Maya, the veil of illusion. Haha. I'm not sure if that was the Matrix or not. It may have been, but we hear about that a lot. But why? So is it? I mean, we got to take personal responsibility for the fact we're here in the first place. You can't, like, once again, go around blaming other people. We've got to do the work ourselves. And I'm pretty sure, I think we're on the same page when it comes to this. It's a question of, what is the answer then? How do we best go about doing that? You've written numerous books, one on porn addiction, and I've in the past couple of years I've gotten past that stage, thank God. But I mean, because the porn access to porn is just, it's pretty awful. Obviously, speaking of the draining of our life energies, chi, or chi, and ki is what they call it here in Korea. Same kind of deal, basically. So ki is the essence. Yes, yeah, yes. But with the Matrix itself and liberation, because you've written on this topic, how is it then that so your take on things is, I don't know if you're familiar with the Art Bell show or John Lear, but John Lear.
No.
Okay, well, John, you might be interested in checking it at some point. But a lot of ufology, people seeing, ghosts and apparitions and all kinds of things that you would think they're not really of normal or of this world, but NDEs, as you've touched on, of course, too. So, but John Lear was one of these guys who said, "Don't go to the light; it's a trap. Don't go." So
Yeah,
maybe in that sense, the
yeah.
two of you are on the same page. What is it then when we die? And have you read the Tibetan Book of the Dead
I
or
have, yeah.
Egyptian?
There's certain things in there that I'm not so sure on. I mean, yeah, I definitely won't be going to the light for sure, because that's
Okay.
when what they do is they hit you with a false light frequency technology, which
Hmm.
kind of puts you into like a rabbit in a headlight situation where you're and what they do is that light frequency, it kind of it love bombs you, so it's kind of like a false love. I don't know if you guys have ever taken ecstasy. I don't recommend it now, but I did take it when I was younger. If you've ever taken ecstasy, it's a little bit like that, where you just love everything and everything loves you. But then afterwards, there's like a big come down for like 2 or 3 days, and that's the kind of frequency that I would describe it, whereby people are getting blinded by that light, and I think that's coming from the moon, actually.
Sin,
And
sin. Yeah, the moon. They call it sin.
yeah,
The Arabic
and
tradition, I believe.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's coming from there. And so yeah, then that's when that's when you're going to be met by your dead granny or your archangels or your whatever it is you were close to in your physical life. And so then once you're there, then obviously that's when they get you to have your life review, and then it's game over with them, because they're going to
Oh,
guilt trip you and
oh, well, don't you
sorry, were
want
you
to
going to
help
ask
your
something?
family members escape the wheel of rebirth, or do you just want to do it on your own and say, "I'm out of here," like the Buddha did? Apparently, finally, he's like, because he finally transcended the wheel of rebirth and just said, "I'm out of here.
Well,
That's it. I'm gone."
that's why I'm up at 11:30 at night doing this interview, because I'm trying to help as many people as I can to question it.
Good.
Now, I don't think for 1 minute my family are going to be listening to this, but I have told them all not to go to the light, whether or not they will or not, I don't know. But the main thing is I've told them, and the cards fall where they may. They're their own individual consciousnesses, and they have to make their decisions. And
Yeah.
based on what I know of my family, they don't spend much time looking at all of this stuff. So it's not on me to force them. I've told them, and then it's up to them what they do. I mean, I really hope in my heart that they don't, but all you can do is put the information out, and then people have to make their own minds up. I mean, there's enough evidence now in movies, and when you research the NDEs and all the symbology with the moon and the fishing for souls and all that kind of stuff, that this is I mean, if you look at the word solar system, luring the soul into the system is telling you
Hmm.
what this is. It's a solar system, luring the soul into the system. So even in the etymology, it's telling us that this is a soul. I don't like the word soul trap. I prefer soul trick, because I don't believe we're trapped here forever. I think we've been tricked here. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I mean, the first thing would be to not go to the light, for sure. Now, what we do from there is up for debate. For me, what I'm going to do is, I'm talking before of connecting with that spark of essence. I'm going to be connecting with that, and I think that essence that we have within us is all knowing. When you have a question and automatically go, yeah, that's not a good person, but then sometimes your mind gets in the way. But if you just listen to that no, that's not a good person, then you would have avoided that person. Everything would have been all right. I think the mind can sometimes get in the way of our communication with our true essence. And yeah, so I feel like when that point comes, I'm gonna be very in tune with my essence and find the right way out. And what exactly that looks like, I don't exactly know. I'm prepared for anything. I know that there's entities out there that perhaps are trying to get people back in, and this is why we need to energy train and realize that we have telekinesis abilities in that dimension. We can shape shift, we can fight back, we can there's a very prominent astral traveler that I've been listening to, and he met these kind of matrix police in the astral.
I was just going to bring him up. Alabar.
Yeah, they came at him with like these batons, and he used his telekinesis abilities to make these police hit themselves. So, we have to remember that we have all these abilities, and I'm not going to be scared to use them, because as far as I'm concerned, is that I'm going to be unfuckable with, because I ain't coming back here. And that's for sure. And so I'm going to be prepared for anything, hopefully. And obviously part of that is becoming sovereign, discerning. Discerning is like something that you need to practice. And if you don't do it while you're alive, it's not just going to be there automatically when you pass over, I don't think. So we got to prepare now. One of the best comments I ever received on one of my YouTube videos was, we need to use this lifetime to learn how to die properly. And I thought that hit the nail on the head, because if this is a soul trick like we think it is, then we don't want to be coming back. And the more of us that get out, the more batteries that get taken out of this simulation. And like anything, you take the batteries out of something, it stops working. So
it's all going to be run by AI. That's what we're headed towards, is what it seems. But before we get more into that, let me just say,
I don't think that's written. Yeah.
Well, hang on a second. We'll wait. Just
I think that's their.
Okay.
Sorry, there's a lag.
Oh yeah, other opposite sides of the world. That's the way. That's the way it goes. Yeah. We'll wait for your rebuttal here in a second. Just to remind listeners that we are tuned in, of course, and lending an ear this week to Tony Death Trap Sayers via Mexico. What a great! It sounds like he's having a pretty decent time as well, all things considered. So good on him. And talking all things from mostly the Wheel of Rebirth and ultimately how to liberate ourselves, but a whole host of related issues. Synchronicity was one of the items that came up just a few minutes ago. It's interesting to note that Christian Latterre, here, according to Sonia. Well, why don't you read it, Sonia? You picked up that the comment, so let's hear it from you. What did he say?
Okay. Yeah. He says, I was saying last night, imagine real life is in the ethereal world, or the astral, or field, and here, let me go back to the. Sorry about that. I was reading it from your screen,
and we're just here to see what we experience.
Yeah, to see what we experience in this game, and we are here to feel other things like emotions. That's kind of his take on it. He was proposing that maybe real life is in the astral, and this is kind of an overlay or something we might be hooked up to, almost like in the Matrix, to where we're having to deal with this reality kind of thing, which is very interesting, I thought.
Sure. Christian Latterre, for people out there who are not aware, Tony, possibly one of them, is a survivor of the Montauk Camp Hero experiments. that ran for a number of years out in the Montauk, New York region, secret MK Ultra uh, experiments that really pushed these young people to their limits via
Kids.
Yeah, I heard
exactly.
about
So
that.
yeah. But yeah, keep your comments coming, folks. Log in as well too. Don't just be lurkers out there. Roger Hansen and others, so including Christian, of course. Where did you find that comment? Actually, Sonia, I didn't see it. It didn't come our way here. Maybe a lot of times.
He messaged it. He messaged to me.
Okay,
It was
gotcha.
in a
Okay,
Facebook Messenger. He was talking about it. I told him, hey, put that in the comments.
all right. We got.
So there's something also I want to interject here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you did
Okay,
interject.
I'll go then. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Jeffy. I just wanted to say, along the lines with what Tony was talking about, I'm not sure if you were talking about Alabar Jones, Tony, but I have been checking out what he does for a while, and he's the guy that takes out a bunch of astral travelers, and they go out and they kill quote unquote demons, or they try and make things right in the world from the astral plane. So, and he says that all those guys out there in the, I guess, fourth dimension or whatever, astral, that they are all just trickster shapeshifter guys, and apparently I'm thinking these are probably the guys that I ran into, because right when you cross the rainbow bridge is what I like to call it these days, but you wake up in the astral, and then there you are, and in the astral you can like Tony was saying, your thought creates reality. So it's important to learn that here, or even practice in the astral if you can, like he was
Oh,
saying,
right.
to
Yes.
learn how
Yes.
to die properly, kind of thing, so that you know how to navigate in the
Yeah.
astral by the time all that
Yeah.
kind of thing goes
Because
down.
that's right.
Can I
So
just add on to that?
yes, absolutely.
I want to get out of the astral, because
Mhm.
the astral is the prison yard. So
Yep.
the intention, well, I'm not telling people what their intention should be, but based on what I've looked at, my intention is to get out of the astral completely, because the astral is just a layer of this matrix. So
Mhm.
if you're caught, and you can create stuff in the astral, but you're still in the astral. So
Mhm.
you really want to make sure that you're out of the astral and into I don't know, real just
Beyond.
yeah, the beyond. I don't like the word real, because that's also the etymology of real is like a real. It's
Mm, mm.
so I'm very careful with the
Or
words,
royal.
but you
Yeah.
know what I mean. Yeah, to get out of
The
to get
king.
out of this matrix, we have to get out of the astral as well.
Well,
I believe, but
that
yeah, I would go along with the fun
that
one.
demiurge, man, it's
And
that demiurge. And let me just add to this, like talking about in the Buddhist tradition, it's the pretas. You might want to look into this. The pretas, which I don't know a whole heck of a lot, other than I believe it's like the hungry ghost. There's the animal realm. Why are some animals are animals? We're humans. We're not born as ghosts or hungry ghosts or jealous gods or what have you. Cats and dogs once again, but these pretas that prey upon us and kind of suck our essence and soul energy or spiritual energy out of us. It's Hubbard. See, out of via Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard. He was really, he launched his religion on because of a bet, that it was so that because he wanted to make money. If you want, I think a friend of his said, if you want to make money, start your own religion. And for some people, they've done quite well in that, pursuing that route and approach, obviously. But they're called thetans. He calls them thetans. I don't know if you know about this or not, but like bing, 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 bing. Sort of as what the parade is, and just what did you call the other day, Sonia? Ankle biters. I don't know if that's the way I would necessarily describe, but do you remember the ankle biter thing? So just kind of niggling away and pestering us. We have to protect our mind. There's no doubt about that. All of us, we have to do what we can to protect ourselves and form some sort of spiritual like defense mechanism, energy shield, really, and just blow the hell out of any negativity, really, as kind of how I see it. And for me, I mean, Tony, can you not feel this with surely you can. You're a pretty sensitive guy. You're healing people now, I guess, or what are you doing with this energy work that you're doing exactly? How does that work?
I'm just clearing etheric interference, any kind of etheric interference, whether that be entity attachments, overlays, etheric implants, just etheric junk. We're all subject to our energy being hijacked. Everyone has entity attachments. Everyone has overlays. Everyone has etheric implants, and it's hijacking our energy. It's a lot of our thoughts actually are not our own. They're coming from these entities.
Yeah.
So when you clear this stuff, you're left with your own thoughts. It's like you have a quietness of the mind. And so this stuff's really affecting our physical, our physical experience. And of course, it's because it's the astral. It's a lot of it's going unseen. But once you start investigating and you develop your own psychic energies, your own clear visual abilities, and all that kind of stuff, then you can pick this stuff off and clear it. And that's what I've been doing. I've worked in this field for 10 years now, just clearing people and just helping them, liberate their energy while they're here. So, but I think just latching onto the point you made, I've been saying on my YouTube channel for a while now, I think we need to get a little bit nasty because these entities, you look at what they're doing here, they're absolutely evil. There's no level to the evil that they won't go to. I mean, look at what they're doing to kids and all this, and I just think that there's this, like, no one wants confrontation. I get it. No one wants that. I don't personally want that. When you think of it in a physical sense, no one wants to fight. No one wants it. But we have to, there comes a point where we have to defend ourselves. And what I see is where we're not doing that. And these entities, they don't mess around. I mean, just tagging on to what we were talking about before, I've heard that some of these entities are going out with these these soul nets and like trying to catch souls and stuff like that. I mean, we have to fight back and we have to use our abilities because we are stronger than them. This is the cosmic joke. And what they don't want is you figuring out that you have all these abilities and that you can create worlds and realms and all of this stuff. And we might need to get nasty. And if you can develop your energy training and your clear visual, your telekinesis skills here, when hopefully you won't need to use them. But if you do, then it's not going to be such of a shock if that occurs.
I think
we are in we're at war. We're at war.
Yeah, sure. And,
if we're at war, we need to learn how to defend ourselves.
Yeah,
because we're getting absolutely smashed, and we're being recycled over and over and over again. God knows how many lifetimes.
Well, but being recycled. But the thing is, are we doing that because of our stupidity or because of our choice? In the sense that we could for lack of a better word, transcend, liberate, break free of the cycle of rebirth, but it's because of having taken this bodhisattva vow, we come back for the sake of the sentient beings, those with consciousness in this realm that need help. And so throughout the course of our lives, whether it's like a little spider any other kind of like insect, animal, or person, obviously.
But how is it helping? How is it helping anyone? Because we're coming back lifetime after lifetime. No one's being helped. Everyone's getting recycled back. So
Well,
it's
there
just a
comes a point in time.
perpetuating system.
Sure, of course, there comes a point in time where you
Yeah,
just got to say, "That's it. I'm out of here. I can't. I'm just.
yeah.
We've got to like the course that you've laid out for us here." But the thing is. So just to be clear, then, what should we be aiming for? So you're saying avoid the light and go for saying the recognition that, well, it's kind of like, Mara, I know you. That's the Buddha's term, Buddha's words. Christ, Satan, get behind thee. So similar kind of deal, right? Like, look, I know what the hell's going on here. You have no power over me. So at that stage, and then perhaps, and then where do we go? What's after the astral realm? There's got to be another layer upon layer.
Well, I think that, I mean, I wouldn't like to say for sure because, yeah, my memory's probably been wiped to where I can't speak about that with enough confidence. But I'm sure that when you get out of the astral, I mean, there might be other matrices like this as well. So
Sure.
there might be other white light tunnels that we might need to be aware of. We need to be very discerning if we're coming across any entities that are trying to guide us or tell us where to go. I'm not personally going to be engaging with anything. I'm gonna trust my own essence, which I believe to be all knowing. My main thing is to not go to the light, and then my next intention is right, get out of the astral, and then I think my essence will lead the way. And like I say, we can create realms as well. So that maybe there doesn't have to be a rush. I mean, think about it. If I asked you to close your eyes now and create a place, a lake with mountains and forest around it and birds and animals, you've already created that instantly. So that is there. That is now created, and you can go back there anytime. But that's still created in the astral. So maybe you want to create a realm and just chill there for a while, and before you work out a better plan. But certainly my main intentions are not to go to the light, and then to get out of the astral, and not to deal with any beings really, until I know I'm fully out. And even then, I'm going to be discerning.
Yeah.
As to who and what I deal with and talk to, and I'm also just going to be ready to hit back if I need to. If anything tries to come at me, I think if the astral is the prison yard, as I believe it to be, and you touched on what Alabar said there, I agree with that. All the entities in there are negative. And now I'm not saying that there's not some positive beings in creation, but certainly in the astral, that's their realm. That they're the prison guards, and so I would be very cautious, and I wouldn't recommend dealing with any entities. And this is where people are channeling their so-called guides and dead loved ones, and what happens there is people get like up to 90% truth sometimes, and then there's always the rug pull or the dump in the punch bowl. So very much a new age concept. And you look at someone like John of God, he was channeling and healing people. He was healing people from cancer, and then he turned out to be a child trafficker.
Yeah.
So,
he managed to really even pull the wool over Oprah's eyes. That was not a good look for her in any way. So let me just jump in here. Zap, Thorley and Colsans, along with Sir Valance, really going at it here in the comments section. So be sure to, if you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, let her rip. We've only got a few more minutes left here with Tony Death Trap Sayers feature show episode number 349 of Pirate Radio Podcast. Make sure you mute yourself out when not talking as well, Sonia. So let's see. Did we find any? Where did the monster at Montauk come from? LOL. Well, I'm not sure if. Yeah, that's kind of not today's show exactly, but anyways, interesting question nonetheless. The other side of this portal, Roger saying that he did a shout out for us on his show. Thank you, Roger. We appreciate it. I was playing something. Okay, so I think that's about it for now. But yeah, we've only got a few more minutes. So if you want, Tony to respond to and provide his take on any of the questions you might have, let her rip, folks. How many books have you put together now and written? It's about 4 or 5 at least, isn't it?
4 or 5, yeah, actually, yeah. The best one is probably The New Age is the New Cage, because it's very easy, it's very short, but it really hits home on the points that I've been talking about, and it's a really good eye opener to the deceptions of the New Age. So yeah, that's a good place to start.
Okay, good stuff. And the porn addiction, I'm not sure. How doesn't really matter how long it is, long enough. But the draining of energy. I mean, really, that's our life essence and energy. That what more? Like I've noticed that, like in doing energy work, that there's something about I don't know. I feel better. I'm happier and feel better, and you grow. You manage to overcome the temptation, and I'm not sure if it's just a total nullification of the libido, as it were. The wife and I still enjoy our intimate moments from time to time, but what's your whole take on I mean the porn industry and just how readily available it is to so many people?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge problem, and I mean, even like if you go on like Instagram now, Instagram is basically porn, and you have like all these young women doing like OnlyFans, which is like a subscription service, and I live in Latin America. I live in Mexico, and there's a lot of like young women here that, obviously they don't have like the career opportunities. They're just got OnlyFans accounts. So you've got all these young women that are basically just doing porn. I mean, we know for a long time that they've sexualized society, and the music as well. It all ties into that. Everything's been overly sexualized, and yeah, of course, as a man, it drains your life force energy, and also opens you up to entity attachments as well. And when you retain your seeds, you retain your creative abilities, and that essence, as you call it, that creative essence, really flows through. And when you don't touch it, so to speak, then you're able to be way more. When you're able to be way more creative, and
yeah,
you just
take that energy.
You actually feel drained.
Yeah, well,
yeah. I don't even know if you're supposed to ejaculate during intercourse. Actually, I think you're only supposed to ejaculate if you're having a baby. If your intention is to have a baby, I think if you because you'll know, like every time you ejaculate, you just feel drained, right? Whether it's through porn or through intercourse, you feel drained. You feel like you've lost something. Well, it's because that has the ability to create life.
That's right.
So of course you're going to feel drained, and so I actually think that yeah, I think probably the proper way is to just hold it until until you want to have a baby. That would probably be the most correct way of doing it. But of course, not everyone's going to do that. So
That's the tantric approach, as from what I understand. Some
is
Zane
it really? I
Ivy.
never knew.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah, Zane Ivy, who's
Yeah.
one of our regular listeners, not here today. He could drop in right at the tail end, perhaps, but no pun intended. Get it? Tail end. Yeah, but yeah, he's big into the whole tantric thing, and and actually, but one of the thing, and sustaining, or withholding, building up to a certain point, but then taking that energy, I guess, and with your consort, the female counterpart, and just transforming as essentially an offering for all sentient beings, really. You just give it back out to the universe. A form of meditation I sometimes practice, actually, in a not quite a similar way exactly, but you visualize taking in all the negativity. Like, you talk about how this realm, material realm, is hell, and many would agree. Yeah, it's like, what did Shakespeare say? Hell is empty, all the devils are here, sort of deal. So,
Right.
and I mean, you definitely could, sure, why not look at it that way? I've lately, in fact, I have been on that page big time.
Mm.
So, but I mean, that doesn't mean you have to make it in your mind, right? It's like and I try not to get too hung up in world affairs either. Like, we address and deal with them, but then it's like, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, where the hell were we going with this now? So, but Tonglen, taking all the negativity of the world, suffering of all sentient beings. I know it sounds like a lot, but this is how Tonglen works, and it means literally, I think, giving and receiving. You take all that crap in, and then accept it, work to kind of visualize, transform it, and then just send it back out to the world, as an offering to, like, what is there? What do you got to lose, really? I mean, even if it's just a bunch of just someone in their foolish imagination, completely out of touch with reality, I kind of, I don't know. There's something about it that just in a poetic sense, for me, that I kind of think is worthwhile, basically, in doing. If follow what I'm getting at. You might not agree, because it's like, too new agey or whatever, but that's, and that's a Tibetan tradition, which is an outgrowth. It's like seen as, in some ways, like a heretical uh, Buddhist path. It's not the original type of Buddhism, but um, what I was going to ask you is cult of personality. Oh, stripping the gurus. John of God, you mentioned early. Stripping the gurus. Have you come across that PDF? Do you know about that one or not? If you don't, maybe
No.
Sonia could provide a link here. I'll just type in "stripping the gurus" PDF. You'll probably get a real kick out of it. The way that all these, like, Osho. Do you remember Osho? And there's been so many scandals with
Sure, yeah.
these spiritual teachers that
Mm.
prove, more often than not, to be frauds and sexual scandals with their students, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, but
Muji is another one.
what's his name?
Muji.
Okay, who's he or she? Who are they?
Muji. He's
Japanese.
he popped up over the last decade, and he's quite prominent, and he's been found to using his stature to abuse women and all this stuff.
Right.
Seems to be a regular theme.
That's unfortunate. How about Sadhguru? Do you ever see any of his YouTube videos or listen to him? Check him out.
Yeah, I've reviewed him on my channel. He was pushing the poke in the arm, wasn't he?
Oh no! See, and you know what? He also attended
Yeah.
the World Economic Forum. That was a major red flag for
Yeah,
me,
exactly.
unfortunately. So yeah, yeah.
Right.
So, Sonia, we're just winding things down here, wrapping things up, more or less. And
That's
I'm not sure if you have any more talking points or just brief questions you'd like to bounce off of
well,
Tony.
I just sure. I just want to say it's kind of sad about that guy.
Loosh.
Just a little joke there.
A couple. Loosh. Oh, Sad Guru. Yeah, Sad Guru. Loosh and
Yeah.
Saul
Yeah. Thanks.
Luckman. Saul Luckman is someone we were supposed to have had on the show a while back, and we'll send you his information later, Sonia. But do you know Saul?
I've got it.
Is there something that in my I'm guessing you may actually have been in contact with him at some point, just if only because I did a search for Loosh just within the last day or so, and he came up. And this is something that you've covered as well, and I'd never heard of Loosh. I thought it was something from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Actually, that was my closest guess, but
Wow.
you've written on this extensively. It has to do with once again draining of spiritual essence and energy, does it not, Tony? Or what exactly were we looking at there?
Yeah, loosh is the energy that we emit, and it's the way it was actually coined by Robert Monroe, who was uh, he was a very prominent astral traveler. I think he got co-opted in the end by the system,
Uh-oh.
but his early work is very interesting.
Sure.
And he referred to these entities as using our energy as loosh, which is basically food for them. So,
Well, how about that? Right. And so is he still alive? He'd be pretty old if he was.
no, I think he died. He came out with the Gateway Project,
Uh-huh.
and it was so it was really eye opening. And then they wiped it. Like you can't even really find it anywhere. Um, but then he started changing his tune all of a sudden, and started saying Earth was a school and all this stuff. So the general consensus amongst the soul trap community is that he was onto something, but then they got to him.
Gotcha. It made him an offer he couldn't refuse, I guess. So who
Yeah, or something else, who knows what they do.
Yeah. Acid and disintegration of the ego. You kind of touched on that briefly with your ecstasy experience, I guess, but I'm not sure if you've done other psychedelics. I found that I mean, I would not recommend acid for anyone. Mushrooms is a
No.
different story, though. Magic mushrooms, yeah, baby. As a therapeutic tool, and it's been now even has been adopted and used to help treat alcoholism and PTSD, and I can totally see why that's the case. It's very organic and earthy, the experience with that I had, and it was great. I really and it helped. It worked to kind of now I know you've talked about what is it, destroy the ego. My approach way of looking at it is
No,
dissolve,
I'm against.
dispel. Yeah,
I'm against the whole concept of destroy the ego.
Right.
Is very much right out of the New Age.
right. Okay,
So I question that. I say that you need a healthy ego here
Right.
to survive. And if there was no ego in the world, there would be no art. No one would write any poetry. No one would make any music. So what they want to do is they want to demonize the ego to make everyone like this kind of wet lettuce. Everyone's like the same. But if you don't have, I'm not saying be stuck in ego. You can definitely be egotistic.
yeah,
But the whole idea that we could destroy the ego or should destroy the ego is a falsehood, because we need an ego here, because this place is so it's so challenging. So without a healthy ego, you're just going to be whitewashed.
And there are a lot of New Agers, quote unquote, who, within the context of spiritual materialism, there's a great term for everyone to research and investigate if they're so inclined. Spiritual materialism, that it feeds their ego, in an unhealthy way. Yeah, you see where that may kind of apply or come into the picture.
I mean, the most egoic thing that someone could say is that they've destroyed their ego, is the way I look at it. It's like the New Agers that say, oh, but you're judging. Well, okay, but you're judging me for judging, so you're judging as well. So it's like,
well, yeah. Are you familiar now? How about monkey mind? Because look, we have this. For example, let's just look at in the context in terms of the internal dialogue. Let's say that we have with ourselves, the monkey mind, discursive internal commentary, that is just like in some ways a broken record, round and round and round, the samsaric cycles, round and round, just incessantly. So, what do we do to stop that or cut through? I get a kick out of the whole cutting through business, and that's where you step up. It's a lion's roar, really, as a spiritual warrior. Christ talked about coming with a sword. And I don't think he's known for killing too many people, unlike Muhammad, in the case of Muhammad. But this is more like a metaphorical sense, a spiritual business. So, because we've got to, what are your thoughts on this discursive internal commentator and dialogue that most people have? I've had one or two say that, they don't have it, but yeah, generally we do.
I see the what they're calling the monkey mind is just
right.
entity attachments that are 24/7. You're not good enough. You can't do this.
Right.
Don't start that business.
Yes.
No one's going to like you. Yeah.
Yes.
So the monkey mind is actually entity attachments.
Right.
I would say.
Beating up on yourself constantly.
Because when you don't have the entity attachments and the overlays and the implants, you're left with a quiet mind where your thoughts are your own. So that would be etheric interference, in my opinion.
The monkey mind.
Yeah, what they're calling the monkey mind would be entity attachments, and the overlays and the etheric implants.
The endless chatterbox, I guess. So, all right. Well, do we have any other comments?
That's why meditation is important.
That's what look, folks, that's the only way that I can see, or one of the main ways, really. That's, meditation, as stated earlier, and medication, there's just that one consonant difference, the spelling, and it's like, it's powerful stuff. It's free, it's natural. And what else? It's probably the most powerful item that we have, in our spiritual toolbox, really, along with, combined with some sort of insight. There's so many different techniques as well, meditation techniques. I haven't looked into too many, really. Just, like I said, you got I guess it's Vipassana. It's like insight meditation. Shamatha, I think, is calm, abiding. So, very calm, restful. You have a thought, let it go, back to the breath. And then the monkey mind typically gets pissed off. It's like, hey, give me attention. I want attention, like a little child.
Can I just interject there?
Sure.
If you clear entities and the interference, you won't have those intrusive thoughts. So you won't have to do the letting go, because you're just left with your own thoughts.
Right.
So again, it's and meditation. I would say meditation, if you're connecting with your inner self, is okay. But the problem is, and I've worked with many clients down the years, 10 years now.
Mm.
When people try and connect with something else, some deity outside of themselves, some entity outside of themselves, even the higher self, which is a masquerading entity, that's when they are coming into problems. That's when the problems start, the deceptions start, and that's where people can trip up. So in my work, I say, look, if you're going to meditate, just connect with what we were talking about before, the inner self, the true self, the essence. Because a lot of meditation practices and the system in general wants you out there. It wants you out there connecting to angels, God. And so when people are going out there, that's when you're playing Russian roulette. Again, when you're going out there, you're going into the astral, the prison yard.
It's kind of like a Ouija board.
Internal, that's when it's absolutely.
The Ouija board.
The concept that meditation is super safe. I mean, I've worked with a number of people where they've gone on retreats and they've come away with suicidal thoughts. They can't get rid of these suicidal thoughts. Yeah. I worked with one lady in particular. She was addicted to these retreats, and she ended up in a mental institute.
Oh no!
So I don't, you got to be careful with it.
Yeah.
Like I say, I mean, you do you. People have, but based on my work over the years, just connect with the true essence, the inner. That's where you're going to get all your true answers. That's where you're going to get your truth. When you go out there and you're trying to connect with anything out there, God, higher self, Jesus, angels, that's when you're going to get deceived and half truths and that kind of stuff, because you're going out into the astral, you're going into the prison yard.
It is problematic. There's no doubt about that. Lush Vril Energy says surveillance, kind of vague term, but means they feed on negative energy. Monroe Institute as well, here coming to us courtesy of Zap. I see a lot of these guys, whoever these guys are exactly, I'm not sure. Pushing drugs is a spiritual experience too. It's pretty sad, actually. Well, yeah, it's, my take on that, even with weed, is, and I heard this a while back, that it does something to damage our etheric shield. Is that right? Some protective shield that we have. Yeah, alcohol.
There's a general misconception in the truth community that like weed is a super great thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there are certain health benefits from it, but basically it suppresses your unhealed emotions. That's why so many people like smoking it, because it pushes everything down so you don't deal with it. It also, for a lot of people, can really just make you completely inactive member of society, really. Some people are better than others, but it opens you up to entity attachments. Anytime you alter your frequency, whether it be through weed, whether it be through alcohol, whether it be through DMT, ayahuasca, you are opening up yourself to, you're altering, especially if you're doing heavy things like DMT and ayahuasca, you're smashing open your consciousness. And that's when entities will use those as gateways to lock in and attach themselves. And one of the main entity races that I find on people that do a lot of plant medicines are serpent entities. Nearly everyone that smokes weed or does ayahuasca, or they have a whole bunch of serpent entities going on. So certain entities like certain drugs. So, for example, cocaine, if I work on an ex-cocaine addict, quite often they have a lot of demonic entities. Same with alcoholics, they have a lot of demonic entities. But the plant medicine people have a lot of serpent entities. Porn addictions, people that have issues with porn have a lot of serpent entities. This is why, the Kundalini yoga is very like sexual. A lot of people that do that, that can open you up to serpent entities. Kundalini energy is serpent energy. So yeah, it's interesting that certain entity races like certain gateways and drugs and different things.
Right. Final question here for you, Tony. What are your thoughts? Roger Hansen wants to know regarding Clown World.
Clown World, that's what I call this place, Clown World. He must have been watching my YouTube
That's right.
channel.
You bet. We have been.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's just sometimes I just look around and I'm like, how did I get here? You know,
Idiocracy, man. Full blown idiocracy.
Yeah, it's just it really is crazy. I mean, even like now, just I don't know if you guys feel the same. Just everyone's on their phone. There's like noise pollution. People scrolling through videos on TikTok. You'll be in a cafe and someone's having a meeting with the loudspeaker on. It's just I get triggered so much by just the noise pollution of this place now.
Yeah.
It just it's just weird. I just
and
I don't know. It's
nobody looking to up to the sky either. They're glued to their spy phones is what as how I refer to this. It's all they call it smart tech. That's the sales job. You know that as having worked in the corporate world with branding, labeling, and so forth, and you know how that the consumer psychology end of things. So it's spy tech, man. It's like every time we see smart this and smart that, we should be thinking spy first and foremost, and that's what I would argue. Anyways, and what is it, Pokemon Go? And was that silly game the kids, mostly kids, and some weird kind of creepy old pedophile guys, I guess, stalking them, wanting to friend them out on the streets, I guess, where they chasing
soldiers.
Were
soldiers as well. I met some Air Force soldiers who are really into Pokemon Go.
Well, what was that?
When I was tattooing
that
right
phone game? Is that phone game? Was it Pokemon Go where they go around? It's like, oh, they all meet up. Oh, we're all here. Oh, wow.
Yep.
I think it's kind of it's kind of come and gone. I don't see too many people here in South Korea really doing it as much as they did before. But they don't look up, and I know that's Tony.
Was
the sky.
My favorite was the ice bucket challenge.
Oh my God! Yeah, monkey see, monkey do.
Ice bucket of ice over their head, and it was all to do with ISIS, wasn't it? Do you remember? It was like some kind of ritual.
I also wanted to just say real quick, since we're on this type of matrix topic, that I'm just going to promote my T-shirt once again, the new one, Demolition Matrix Team. Okay, and then also I wanted to say that I do have a Clown World T-shirt in the works, and it's kind of in line with the rest. That was before I even met Tony, so I really kind of see what you're talking about with the whole Clown World thing.
How do you do that? Is it on Teespring?
No, actually, I just use Printful. Yeah, it works out way better for me.
I might have to design my own Clown World one.
I can totally help you with that.
Yeah, there you go. Sonia is she's our merchandising director.
Sure,
so we're gonna pull up.
Email me, Sonia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I hope we've had the opportunity to cover about as much as we had hoped to, and that you had as well, obviously. Is there anything we missed out on, Tony? You have any upcoming events? Or, I mean, this business of how you've worked with so many people throughout the years, could you do it on a virtual basis? Do you have to be in person? Or is it either way is fine?
Yeah, it's over Zoom. It's over Zoom. So if you just go to my website, transcendingtimes.org, I've got all my books and my sessions and a few other bits and pieces on my website. So you can just go via the website and book if you're interested. But other than that, yeah, my YouTube channel is where all my work goes up, and I just break all this stuff down. I just I don't really have filters with this. I think I don't know. It's just I just get straight to the point with all of this, and Yeah, so that might be worth checking out if you're interested in exploring these topics further.
Do you have client reviews available?
Yeah, on my website. Yeah.
Good, excellent. Because that's I would say it's pretty important, and I don't know how people do this sort of thing. You're gifted. Can anybody do this sort of energy work that you're talking about? So it's not balancing
Yeah.
chakras.
So
It's nothing, because you're not a chakra kind of
no, no, no,
guy.
no, no.
No.
Don't get me started on the chakras.
Okay. Okay. Right. Right.
Yeah. So basically, everyone has the ability to clear stuff. Everyone has psychic abilities. Everyone has clear visual abilities. The problem is that we're not taught them from school. So obviously, we go through life not realizing that we have them, and then when you get to an adult, people just think you're crazy. But the truth is, we all have them, and they're like a muscle. So just like if you don't if you go to the gym and you work out your right arm and you don't work out your left arm's going to get weak, but your right arm will get strong. And it's the same with our psychic abilities, clear visual abilities. The more you practice them, the stronger that they get. So what I'm doing is no different to what anyone else could do. It's just the difference between you and I is I've spent 10 years doing it. And of course, like anything, hopefully you get good at it and you know where to look for things. Um, and obviously that's the case now with me. But on my website, I also have a course as well where you can learn how to do all of that. It's a video course, and it's a community as well where I do monthly live Q&As. So the training is ongoing. So yeah, there's the option of a session, or if you want to learn how to do it yourself, I have the course as well. So
And just think of the way that the fluoride has impacted the pineal gland, the way that they've done that with the water, and now with the who knows what with the chemtrail, these payloads that they're endlessly dumping on the planet, really, and the impact that has on our ability to flourish as humans and become the fullest, most fully alive. And I know awake is not a term that you are really down with, but I mean, in the Gnostic tradition, it there's it's all about waking up from the dream. They talk about this life being like a dream. Shakespeare, the Buddha, row your boat. It's the dream, and the dreamer must awaken. I think you said it had too much to do with death, although it's a celebration too. So you could look at it in that sense, that the Irish wake celebratory tradition. So, thank you, Tony. You've been a great guest. I'm sure we're going to archive this later, of course, and there was great engagement via the live end of things. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend in Mexico. Keep in touch, and hopefully you and Sonia managed to work something out there on the merchandising front. She's been a busy lady as of late with that whole business. So,
Yep.
yeah, good things
Yep.
coming
And this has
your
been a
way.
great interview. I want to thank you. Thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your views with everyone. It's such a gift, for sure.
you're welcome. It was lovely to speak to you both, and you both have a good weekend as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Happy sailing, my friend.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Take care. Okay. There goes Sonia and Tony via the Jitsi is where we had things set up this go round, as compared to Teams or some other VoIP voice over internet protocol. Hope once again everybody did manage to glean a few items of interest and value. Of course, that's what it's all about. That's why we're here. We do what we can each and every week to bring on board quality guests, the likes of Mr. Sayers. And, it's present to you the sort of things that you can reflect upon, consider, mull. And as Socrates himself put it, the unexamined life is not worth living. So we're quite confident that many of our listeners are those who do examine their lives and think about, consider, reflect upon where it is we've come from, why we're here, and where we're going. So where we're going now is on out the door, of course, to return this coming Tuesday night, hopefully, for our weekly World Pirate Radio news segment. 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 on the East Coast. There's a great shot interesting Mexico. The late, great Pirate Larry, who himself has transcended. To where exactly, we're not sure, although there's a part of us that would like to think he is looking out over us. Here, the Pirates of God. It's a new breed, folks. It's a new day. We are a new breed. Digital pirate warriors sounding the lion's roar, no longer laying waste to people and the land, causing so many to suffer and needlessly die, as it were. There's this, well, a lot is romanticized. There's a pretty horrific legacy that the pirates down through history have clearly established for themselves. But this is a new day. We are a new breed, digital pirates, by and large. We are on a mission from God, a piratas de Dios, according to Pirate Larry. So we're taking what he had to offer us in that context, once again sounding the lion's roar and seeing what ripples we can make out here via these high, often all too intrepid digital seas, coming to the aid where we can, support of widows and orphans of the world, those less fortunate than ourselves. So, I mean, if we're in a position where we can help others, we're most certainly going to make the most of that opportunity rather than selfishly ignore their plight and where we could help to make the world a better place. There's no doubt that we'll be engaging ourselves. So Pirate One Radio at protonmail.com is our PayPal email address. It's really, we do depend on your support and donations, whether through that means or purchasing of Pirate Swag merchandise, which we did feature at the end of the show via galacticfire.com, t-shirts and coffee mugs. Hopefully items of various other types coming your way shortly, steady as she goes. We have a Patreon presence, a lot of digital love, which we are always happy to to make the most of. Of course, half of everything we do manage to generate through whatever means, as far as your love and support is concerned, goes directly back to the grassroots. Hashtag WWRHD. What would Robin Hood do? So WPRPN.com, of course, as always, the main website. Drop by, sign up as free. All you simply need is a username, password, and email. Hope everyone has a great weekend. It has been a splendid time that we've had here once again with Tony, Sonia, and the rest of everyone who was out there engaging us via real live time. Even those lurkers, you damn Lucy lurkers. Hopefully next time you take the time, make the effort to sign in. We're always happy to welcome new crew members aboard. So on behalf of Captain Long John Sinclair and all the rest of the crew here down in Skullport Harbor, until we meet again via these high, often all too intrepid digital seas, I'm your host as always, the Robin Hood's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder, reminding you as always to keep your ear to the ground and eyes to the sky. Tally-ho!
Aye now, there we be. Having carefully looked over each of our navigation panel instruments,
checking every level, switch, dial, cable, knob, and pulley, by all accounts and indications, we indeed see it's time once again to drop anchor inside Mystic Bay.
Draw an end to yet another week of World Pirate Radio Live.
Remember,
if you're looking for a little more animated online action,
keep in mind we've likely got yet another great free-flowing Rogues Gallery after show
coming up for the next hour in one of our more premium exclusive and remote digital underground online pirate hideaways. Also, if you yourself have a new,
novel, intriguing, or otherwise underreported idea, unique individual, or pressing item in mind, be sure to either drop us a line directly over on WPRPN.com or fire us a quick email
via Pirate One Radio at protonmail.com.
We're always open to exploring fresh creative suggestions, intriguing guest ideas, cutting-edge discussion topics, and captivating themes.
Remember, WPRPN.com member site subdomain links are also always available.
Great for artists, musicians, podcasters, bloggers, social media personalities,
or pretty much just any old land lover
looking to boost their online visibility, presence, and reach.
Basic personal profile accounts can be launched for just $60 per year.
Staking your claim now helps not only strengthen you and the network, we're also looking out for the little guy. That's right, folks. As much as half of all WPRPN's profits are redirected right back into the hands of the people who really need it most. Community charity. After all, we are the Robin Hood.
You can further embark on your own personal pirate journey by either liking, sharing,
commenting on, subscribing to, or just following us via virtually any mainstream social media platform, including Twitter, Facebook,
Gab,
or Minds.com. So don't forget to become engaged. Until we meet again out on the high digital seas, I'm your host as always, the ship's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder. Tally-ho.